Have you been trying to find or flip profitable cars but just can't seem to find one that yields a good profit when it comes time to sell the car? Well, don't worry. In this video, I'm going to show you the A to Z process of inspecting a used car so that you can be sure it has genuine profit potential before you buy it. For more on every step of the car flipping process, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next weekly video. My name is Benjamin McShanny and welcome back to Ben Flips Cars. And using the methods I'm about to show you here, I was able to find this fantastic condition Holden Cruise with a roadworthy certificate for just $3,200, which already has the profit potential to sell for a lot more. If you haven't seen the first two videos to this series, where I show you how to actually find a car with profit potential in the first place, that's actually worth going to inspect, I'll pop them up in the corner now so you can go and check those two videos out first. This video will make a lot more sense following those two. So now that we have a car of interest, plus a time and place organised to meet with the seller so that we can inspect and test drive the car, there are a few preparations to make and a few things to keep in mind. Firstly, something that I touched on before is that buying the right vehicle for the right price is much more important than how well you can actually fix the car up. Therefore, with inspecting the car and doing your due diligence, you want to find out absolutely everything you can about the car that you're considering buying. So to enable us to find out everything we can about the car, we want to bring along what I call the car inspection toolkit. The first and most important thing in this kit is the OBD2 scanner. This will allow you to scan the car's computer for any error codes and diagnose any check engine lights that may appear during the car's inspection. I'm going to show you how this works in the next video. You can easily buy one of these cheap online or from your local auto store. I think this one ran me about $20. You don't need one of the really expensive, complicated ones. Just a simple one will help significantly with the inspection. Next, a nice little powerful torch like this. Oh, blinded myself there. This will help you see things underneath the car a lot better, and also inside the engine bay. When looking for rust, leaks, or other damage, you can also shine it inside things like your fluid reservoirs. Next, a simple fridge magnet. This can help you identify if any suspected body filler has been used on one of the car's metal panels. Normally, on a metal panel, a magnet will stick like that. But on a panel with some body filler, the magnet will of course fall off. Bear in mind, aluminium panels don't magnetize anyway, and if you have something like a plastic bumper like this car has, that's of course not going to magnetize either. It's a good idea to bring some disposable gloves along to keep your hands clean during the vehicle inspection, especially for sections like the engine bay fluids. Some straws, ideally clear plastic ones, unlike these paper ones I have here, and also some paper towels are very useful when it comes to inspecting the engine bay fluids. I'll show you how to use these for the engine bay fluids in the next video. Another thing that can come in handy is this telescopic mirror. Unfortunately, I've just discovered my one's broken. I'll have to go get a new one. You can use this to allow you to see things deeper inside the engine bay, particularly under things like hoses and pipes. If you're a bit more creative, you could even use it to see things like the level of wear on the brake pads. This one here was just $5 at Bunnings. Another handy thing is a simple spray bottle or water bottle with some water in it. You can spray this onto scratches that you're unsure of if they'll be able to buff out with cutting compound. If they disappear when sprayed, then you know the compound will get rid of them, no problem. For the tyres, you could bring along a tyre pressure gauge, because if the suspension feels strange during the test drive, it could be due to low tyre pressure, and this handy little tool will allow you to check for that. You also want to bring a little tyre tread measurement tool like I've drawn up here, so you can check the tread depth of the tyres to ensure they meet that roadworthy minimum of 3mm. Finally, a couple of bonus items: a battery tester to check the battery's health, and a 12-volt charger of some sort to check whether all the 12-volt ports work on the car. You most likely won't need everything inside of the car inspection kit on every single car that you inspect, but still, it's a good idea to bring everything along with you just in case you need it. Now, while inspecting the car, there are some major red flags that you're going to want to look out for. Firstly, you want to ensure the VIN number and registration on the PPSR check match with that inside the seller's My VicRoads account, or if you're in another state, basically that the title matches. And I'll touch more on what a PPSR check is shortly. Second, watch for signs of the vehicle being stolen, such as tampered with or damaged VINs, or any weird rego or title of ownership. The VIN numbers are usually located somewhere on the engine bay, like around the side, or in this case, up in the middle here, sometimes in the driver or passenger foot areas, oftentimes on the driver or passenger side door sticker, or often up near the windscreen wipers behind the windscreen, like on this car here. Make sure you've researched where the VIN numbers are meant to be on the vehicle that you're inspecting, and that way you won't miss any of them. And of course, make sure all those VINs match. And speaking of a weird title, ensure the seller actually owns the car. Their license number should match the title, or in this case, in their My VicRoads account. And the car registration should also appear under that title or in their account. Another thing to be wary of is major crash damage, especially stuff that isn't very obvious or may be hidden under a dodgy repair job, because the seller might have wanted to avoid making an insurance claim. This kind of dodgy repair jobs can cause leaks or rust, which of course you don't want to deal with. Another one you want to look for that's unfortunately becoming easier to do and more common nowadays is mileage or odometer tampering. Ways you can watch for this is just if the car seems a lot older or a lot more worn out than what the kilometers are suggesting on the odometer. A telltale sign is looking at wear on the steering wheel. As you can see, this isn't too bad and this car does have 165,000 Ks. Also have a look at your driver's seat to see if there's any excessive wear. There's just a little bit of wear down here, but nothing major. And the last thing you can look at is the accelerator and brake to see if there's any excessive wear down there. See, there's a little bit of wear on that brake pedal, but again, nothing major. Looks pretty normal for a car with 165,000 Ks. If any of these mentioned parts look excessively worn, but the car's kilometers are relatively low, then there is probably a good chance that the car's odometer has been rolled back. Finally, even if the car has a roadworthy certificate, you still want to inspect the car diligently and just look out for any major issue, because without a doubt, dodgy roadworthy certificates are given out from time to time. If you find that any of these major red flags have occurred with the vehicle that you're inspecting at any time, just walk away. It's not going to be worth your time. It's way too much risk. Go and find another vehicle that doesn't have any of these issues. Do you disagree with any of the points that I've touched on so far? Let me know why in the comments below. I'm always curious to hear other people's perspectives. Once again, if you missed the first 2 videos to this series where I show you how to actually find a car that's worth going to inspect in the first place, I'll pop them up in the corner now so that you can go and watch them after you finish watching this video. I'll also put them at the end screen of the video because this video is going to make a lot more sense following those ones. Now that we've gone through the major red flags, some other general tips you want to keep in mind as you inspect a used car are: 1, before going to see the car, it's worth asking ChatGPT that if the exact make and model of car that you're going to see has any common issues or recalls that are worth looking out for. You want to be aware of these as you're inspecting the car. Second, never inspect a wet car under any circumstances. When a car's wet, it hides cosmetic damage on the car, and more importantly, it's almost impossible to identify fluid leaks when there's all water on the ground everywhere. Another tip, just bear in mind if a car's poorly looked after cosmetically, it's probably poorly looked after mechanically also. If you find any rust, just surface rust is fine, but if there's anything that's so rusty that it's falling apart or breaking when you touch it, run far away. Even if the rust isn't in a very troublesome area, you can almost bet that there will be more compromising rust somewhere, probably under the car, and you don't want to deal with that. If the car has a windshield service sticker, which will usually be stuck up in the driver's side corner here, or sometimes over on the passenger side corner as well, and you can use this to check if the car's due for a service. These stickers will often have the phone number of the mechanic that did the work on the car. You can ring up this number and they may have a service history of the car, which can be helpful in the case that the car doesn't have a service book. Next tip, don't buy a car unless you're confident that you can make it look like new or as good as new within your skill level. As we said earlier, part of our philosophy is that we want to get the car into like new condition to maximize the sale price and therefore your profit. If there's too much wrong with the car, just walk away. Repair costs add up quickly, especially if you find a repair is outside of your skill set. It becomes very expensive taking it to a mechanic or some kind of other repair shop. One of the best tips I can give is if you're ever unsure of something throughout the inspection, best course of action is just to assume the worst and walk away. There will always be another car that you can go and inspect, and you really don't want to end up with a car that's going to cause you headaches. More often than not, you probably won't be buying the car. In fact, I'd even say the majority of the time you won't, especially if you can't avoid paying that maximum purchase price that we identified in the last video. Throughout the inspection, some general questions you can ask yourself is, does the car feel reliable? Is it something I would own and drive? These are questions a potential buyer is going to ask themselves, so just take note of those things as you inspect the car. The final tip is don't be afraid to ask the seller questions as you go. Their answers can give you valuable insights on the car's history. Now, speaking of asking the seller questions, before we even start the inspection, there's some due diligence that we want to do and some questions that we want to ask the seller before we meet them in person. Now, I mentioned earlier the PPSR Check, which I believe stands for Personal Property Securities Register. You can do this check on the Australian government website using the car's VIN number. It only costs you $2. It's going to be some of the best $2 you ever spend. because it'll tell you whether the car's been previously written off, reported as stolen, or if it has finance owing on it. This is an absolute must when buying a used vehicle, whether you're flipping cars or not. Another very useful tool is the VicRoads free Rego check, and I'm betting other states around Australia have a free registration check as well. So you do this on the VicRoads website using the car's number plate registration, and it will tell you if the registration's expired or if it's still valid and what date it's going to expire on. Plus, it will give you details like the car's VIN, the colour, stuff like that. So you want to make sure, obviously, the registration matches all those details. With that, some questions you can and probably should ask the seller to get to know a little bit more about the car are: how long have they had the car for? How many kilometres did they put on the car during that time? What did they use the car for? This can give you an idea of how it's treated. Why are they selling the car? What car are they looking to replace the one that they're selling to you, and why? Has the car been sitting for a long time? If it has, it can start to deteriorate. How many owners did the car have before then? Where was the car regularly parked? Was it kept in a garage like this? How many owners did it have before then? Does the car have a service history book or any other service history that they can provide? When was the last time they had the car serviced? How many sets of keys does the car have? Have there been any modifications done to the vehicle? Does the car have any major issues? Of course, the seller's not always going to be honest about this, hence why you're going to do a thorough inspection. Does everything on the car work as it should? Has the car had much interest from other potential buyers? You want to make a note of the answer to all these questions, especially if it's an interesting answer or useful answer. It will help you get an idea of the car's history and potentially reveal any red flags like we just discussed earlier. And the last thing I want to mention before we start the actual inspection on the car is that you want to make note of all the issues you find as you inspect, either in a note on your phone or list them down on a piece of paper. If there's not enough issues to stop you from buying the car and you decide that you want it after your inspection, you can use this list of issues that you've created as negotiation leverage with the seller. So now, after covering the car inspection kit, red flags to look out for, general tips, questions to ask the seller, and doing your due diligence, it's time to finally start our actual inspection of the vehicle. We're going to start with the most important parts, that being the engine bay, engine fluids, and engine checks, all of which I'm going to cover in depth in the next video. So be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss it. I'll also have it pop up in the corner of this video once it's released. Once again, if you missed the first two videos showing you how to actually find a car that's worth going to inspect in the first place, those two videos should be up on screen now. If you have any questions, drop them below in a comment or to message me directly. I'm on Instagram and TikTok, also at Ben Flips Cars. Please hit the like button to help me out with the YouTube algorithm. It helps out a lot, and subscribe so you don't miss the next weekly video. My name is Benjamin McShannock, and thank you very much for watching Ben Flips Cars.